the first time that you ever did something, maybe long ago in your memory, the first time you ever ate a bar of chocolate, a packet of Haribo's, maybe if you're much, much older, the first time that you ever had a drink of alcohol or had a cigarette, these might be things that are so far away in your memory that obviously you don't even remember them. You can't remember what it was like during and after, what happened when you did this kind of stuff. And this is part of a 5 step process, which is almost like a healthiness kind of thing. And it can kind of show you maybe that you are unhealthy, even if you feel somewhat fine. And the first part of this process is kind of just what we talked about, and it's the initial response, which many people are likely to not remember. And that is one of the reasons that they may feel fine, but they actually inside aren't so fine, and their body is actually working quite hard to make sure that externally they are still functioning somewhat averagely and normally. Maybe, for instance, it's caffeine. The first cup of coffee you had and the pounding heart that you had immediately afterwards. If it's the first bar of chocolate or packet of Haribo's, the insane sugar crash that you had when you were maybe 5 years old or whatever, and you probably don't remember this kind of stuff, do you? But the second step is adaptation, and this may be where your life currently is. For instance, in the lung cells of a smoker, the lung cells literally develop like a protective sheath around them to protect themselves from the chemicals inside of the tobacco smoke, inside of the cigarette smoke, so that they're not too badly damaged by the carcinogens that are inside cigarette smoke and tobacco smoke. And that is an example of how your body adapts and protects itself to against things that aren't good for it and external factors. And you may think this is a really good thing, and you may try use it as an excuse to continue to do bad habits, but the fact is this takes up a lot of your energy. The work your body has to do to change its kind of cell composition so that it's protected against tobacco smoke or whatever is quite a lot. And for instance, I'm going to use the example of a sugar crash. You may not remember your first sugar crash, and now whenever you eat sugar, you feel absolutely fine afterwards, despite the fact that you may have developed an insulin desensitivity, which means that instead of your blood sugar level immediately spiking and then kind of going down below its baseline so you feel tired, which is what a sugar crash is, your blood sugar level spikes and goes down slowly because so much more insulin has to be produced to get the sugar inside of your muscle cells. And that is an example of your body adapting so that it can perform somewhat normally, despite the fact that an insulin resistance actually has a negative impact on you in the long term. And so does probably having different kind of lung cells that have to develop certain chemicals to protect itself from other harmful chemicals. And this could be the stage that you are on. You may feel fine despite the fact that you have less energy than what you would be if you gave up these substances entirely. You may not be currently functioning at your best potential, and you may still have the internal sort of symptoms of things like high sugar diets and cigarette ingestion, inhalation, stuff like that. But you feel fine, but inside you're probably not quite fine, and that's where step 3 of this 5 step process comes in, which is exhaustion. Exhaustion is where your body literally cannot take any more of what you're doing to it, and this is the stage where many people get a wave of kind of sudden medical issues, if you kind of know what I mean. Sudden medical issues, they suddenly get loads of heart attacks, strokes, they suddenly develop lots of skin issues or stuff like that. You probably heard of people who have developed a lot of bad diseases in quite a short space of time, and that is the body becoming exhausted because it's tried to protect itself for so long, it's taken up so much energy, and it just cannot go on any longer. And this is the stage where many people see a healthcare professional and realize that while they felt quite healthy, they may have not been on the inside. And after this, you can have step 4 and step 5, which I'm going to use examples from my own life of sugar and high sugar diets to show you that maybe some things that you currently do in your daily life aren't so good for you. I mean, I went on a sugar fast because I started learning things about visceral fat and how sugar can affect your body and your productivity. And I went on a complete sugar fast for 1 to 2 months. And now anytime I eat anything sugary, step 4 is the recovery. Step 4, for instance, would be the sugar fast that I previously went on for 1 to 2 months. And I don't eat that much sugar now either, but it's still like a useful thing for you to do if you want to go like on caffeine or cigarette fast and stuff like that. You realize how bad these things are for you when like you go into the step when you go into the fifth step, which is hypersensitivity. Now, hypersensitivity for me would be, for instance, um, when I now have anything sugary, I have insane sugar crashes. I will eat like one. I would have like one milkshake. I would have one like small packet of Haribo's like with my friends or whatever, and I will feel it. I will feel quite a big sugar crash. And even when I have a meal that is quite full of processed carbs, I will still feel very tired and more tired than what I normally would, and more tired that I did before I ate the food than like when I was like in the step 2 adaptation stage when I ate lots of sugar previously in the past. And if you currently have lots of coffee, if you currently have lots of caffeine in your drinks and your diet, this may be something that you could go on a fast on, because caffeine does have negative effects on your body, and you may still think you're healthy on the inside, but realistically, you may not be so okay. And if you went on a caffeine fast and then you had caffeine again after 2 months, you will see what this kind of stuff does to your body, and you will realize how bad it actually is for you. I mean, your first like cigarette or something, you probably coughed a hell of a lot. I mean, I've never experienced that, but I'm assuming that you probably cough a lot, right? Now, if you stop doing it for like 6 months, when you have it again, you will be coughing a lot, a lot, a lot, because your body's had to recover so much. It's probably been more protective than when it was when you had the initial response, which was step 1, and you really start to realize how bad this stuff is for your body. And so if you think there's something that might be bad, but you're kind of like coping about it, thinking that it helps me be productive, for instance, like coffee, you think, like, oh, it helps me like gain energy and stuff like that, maybe it is worth going on like a caffeine fast so that you can realize that this stuff may be having a negative health effect on you by the time you like have it again after 2 to 3 months. So I hope you try this with anything that maybe like you think is like slightly unhealthy for you, but you're kind of coping, you're kind of making excuses for the reason that it's still in your life. And yeah, get back to me in 2 to 3 months' time with your like hypersensitivity, and hopefully you've realized how bad this thing that you commonly ate actually was for your body. And yeah, that's about it. I recommend subscribing because I like this community of young tribal people who are willing to improve themselves so much more than they already have. And good luck.